October 12th, 2023 at 7:34 p.m. So we're going to start our 7:30 meeting. Call this meeting to order. Annual notice of this meeting was provided to the Star Ledger, Home News Tribune, and Highland Park Planet on January 31st, 2023. In addition, notice of this meeting via Zoom was emailed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on June 6, 2023, and was posted on the Borough website at www.hpborough.com and on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue, Highland Park, New Jersey, on June 6, 2023, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. All right, Jen, let's do roll call, please.
Ms. Hand.
Here.
Mr. Brusher.
Here.
Mr. Chin.
Here.
Mr. Eisendorfer.
Here.
Ms. Hadhazy.
Here.
Mr. Hale. Mr. Linares.
Here.
Mr. Malay. Mr. Perman.
Here.
Mr. Stern Cardinal. Mr. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Lynch.
Here.
Mr. Cosenza. Mr. Koch.
Here.
Okay. First up on the agenda, we have 6 sets of minutes to review. We'll go through them at one set at a time, and if anyone has any comments or changes to each set of minutes, we'll go through them. And does anyone have any comments or changes for March 10th, 2022?
Yes,
Go ahead.
my name is misspelled throughout the minutes.
Sorry, my minutes are out of order. Right, is that throughout or just on the one spot? I see.
On actually all the minutes.
Collegia's name is 2 H's.
Yes.
Okay. So as a comment moving forward throughout the minutes, Collegia's first name spelling will be amended in the final version of the minutes. All right. Any other comments on the March 10th, 2022 minutes? Alan? No? Okay. Anyone? Okay, do we need to do motions on the minutes individually, or can we do them as a group later?
I was doing collectively at the end.
All right then. Does anyone have any comments on the April 14th, 2022 minutes, aside from the spelling of Collegia's name? No? Okay. Any comments on the July 14th, 2022 minutes? You did. This is fantastic. Any comments on the October 13th, 2022 minutes? Okay. Comments on December 8th, 2022?
Yes.
Okay.
On page 1, overview of the redone statute should be overview of the redevelopment statute. I think
Paragraph.
that's a very good question. Page 1. Sorry, I'm trying to find it in my packet. While I look for it, there's also
Oh, I found it. It's here. Paragraph, third paragraph, second line of the public hearing comments portion. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
also on page 1, where Mr. Cosenza is mentioning that it's the first stop in development, it should be step. And that's and then following paragraph. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
It says stop where it should say step.
It says, oh, where it should say step. It's the fourth paragraph on the first page.
Oh, I see.
On page 8.
Page 8.
Yes.
Okay.
It is fifth paragraph up, the one that begins, Mr. Dazzy asked the planner.
Uh-huh.
Just that, the beginning of the second line should say, the building as they vacate the space, not and they vacate the space.
Ah. Okay. Any more? I found it. Any more?
None for that meeting.
Okay, anyone else on the December 8th, 2022 minutes? Okay. Then for the January 12th, 2023 minutes.
Tanya Varela's name is misspelled on pages 3 and 4.
Okay. I was.
It's weird because it says she wrote it, so I'm
Oh,
not
she
sure what's
didn't.
going on.
It's always a group effort. All right. Any other comments for the January 12th, 2023 minutes? Okay, seeing none, I would solicit a motion on accepting the minutes, all 6 sets with the modifications we just set forth.
Motion.
Motion by Khalidra, seconded by Jeff. Everybody. Do we need voice vote or can we do a poll out?
I'll just do this for.
Okay. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All, anyone who is not in favor of approving the minutes? Anyone abstaining?
Aye.
Okay, we have 1 abstention on, is it for all of them
Well,
or
these were all meetings before I was appointed.
all the minutes from Steve? Okay, very good. So moving on from the minutes, which I don't believe need to be open for public comments, right?
No.
All right, that takes us to the next order of business, appointment of our new board clerk, Miss Sonia Monroy, is that how you pronounce it? Well, welcome Sonia to our planning board. I look forward to many years of wonderful working relationship and working together. Do we need to do this as a motion to have her appointed?
That's
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to appoint Sonia Monroy as our new
I'll move.
secretary? All right, moved by Alvin,
Second.
seconded by Alan Williams. Again, voice vote, okay?
I'll do it individually.
All right, can we have a roll call for the motion, please?
Mr. Brusher,
Yes.
Mr. Chin,
Yes.
Mr. Eisendorfer,
Yes.
Ms. Hadhazy,
Yes.
Mr. Hale,
Yes.
Mr. Perlman,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Hand.
Yes. Okay. Next up on our agenda has been referred to us a schematic from the about Irving Elementary School for our review, where we also have a memo from LRK, our planners who have reviewed the schematics and given us some recommendations and opinions about them. But the school district is referring this to us because they're required to under their long-range facility plans regarding the district's plan for meeting school facilities over the course of the next 5 years and other statutory requirements. They need to receive our comments to their proposed schematics for the placement of these temporary classrooms in order to proceed expeditiously with their application for with the NJDOE. So I think everyone's received the LRK memo, correct? With the comments provided by our order, who's by our Chris, who's not with us this evening, but was kind enough to prepare this for us. But what I'm going to do then is open up the meeting to comments from the board about the schematics provided for our review. Anyone want to make any comments?
Comments. So the timing of this is very peculiar because the classrooms are already there on site. This is only we don't have the authority to grant or deny the permit. They don't need a permit from us. But this is for our comments, and the timing seems wrong. The time to ask for our comments should be before you actually buy the stuff and install it, not after the fact.
An observation I agree with. I was rather surprised to have gotten this, knowing that the classrooms are already in place where they are. I think we're more of an afterthought because we are a courtesy review, but we are a courtesy review. So if we have thoughts to provide, we can provide them.
Just along with that, just along with that, my understanding is that these classrooms are temporary and that the school board is as early as next week entertaining a public-private partnership or a P3 to build a permanent pre-K building, and I would think along with the lines that we communicate back to the Board of Ed that especially if that is going to be owned by a private sector developer, that we would see we see that proposal before it's like what's the like I mean like these are temporary and we should see it before, but the real deal is going to when these come permanent, when there's a new permanent building. So maybe that's.
But if there was a new permanent building that was going to be constructed, would we see those plans before?
Yes, and what we're here tonight is just to compile some recommendations that we will submit to the state and to the Board of Education with our recommendations that we all vote upon, and we can include certain conditions that are reasonable in that regard.
Jeff, can you elaborate, like, where the proposed building is going to be and who's a partnership?
Sure. So I can't give testimony because I'm not on the Board of Ed. So I'm only going to relate what I've attended Board of Ed meetings virtually. So only what I understand. So in the minutes, but this is very, I can't speak with authority. But the Board of Ed is considering a new construction using a public-private partnership. So it's a long-term lease built by a private entity. At least back to the Board of Ed for a long period of time, to the block to the west. So that is the block that has the ambulance, the first aid squad, and the liquor store. It's that T-shaped open lot.
Okay.
And they have to enter into an agreement. They don't think they have to go through the whole process. It's a very long process, I guess, to find a builder. Enter into an agreement for a lease and all that, but that's what I have been hearing from attending the Board of Ed meeting.
Interesting.
Do we know what age kids are going to be using these modular classrooms?
Yes, these 4 rooms are slotted for 4 kindergarten classes. Kindergarten.
I think it would have been nice as an 8th grader to have an arts and crafts trolley.
I would just comment, that the play area provided, if this is kindergarten, the amount of play areas provided in each modular classroom strikes me as being very small. If you look at the interior plan, so there's an 18 by, no, but there's an area road. It's the square with the little rectangles. It's number 19 on that, and that's all the play area there is. So I don't know what the state standards are, but that does strike me as a very small play area for kindergartners.
So a recommendation for expansion of an open play area.
That would be my view. I have no expertise in this, and I don't know what the state standards are, but I just think of my kindergarten age grandchild, and it just seems like a very small amount of play area for a kindergarten class, which after all, play is important.
The open play areas feel undersized. Perhaps an expansion of the open play area would be an additional recommendation. Does anyone else have any thoughts about it? All right, I'm very quickly going to go back to the LRK memo and just go over some of the recommendations from our planner on his thoughts on the trailer placement. He makes note that the material and color selection of the proposed walkways and canopy structure, as well as the exterior of the proposed structure, should be described because they're not listed in the schematics, and whether they'll be compatible, I suppose, aesthetically with the existing school. Yes, Jeff? you do. Next, it's not clear if the proposed canopy structure extends all the way to the proposed modular structures, and if students will be fully protected from the elements as they walk between the existing school and the proposed structures. Although again, the structures are already in place. It is not clear if the modular structures will be accessible, as steps are shown between the existing school and the proposed modular structures, which I think is an excellent observation considering there's accessible seating listed in the interior diagrams. It is recommended that an enhanced landscape buffer be provided along proposed walkway / canopy structure and along the base of the proposed modular structures. It is recommended that the grassy area between the proposed modular structures and Woodbridge Avenue be provided with additional shade trees, which may help cool the proposed modular structures. Such improvements may incorporate stormwater or green infrastructure strategies to mitigate increased roof drain runoff as well. It's not clear if any HVAC equipment will be installed to support the proposed modular structures. If they're ground mounted, they should be screened with additional landscaping. And if they're roof mounted, they should be screened with decorative screening devices. Finally, the school district should clarify if the bus and parent drop-off sequencing and general circulation and traffic patterns will be affected by the proposed site improvements, which again are already in place. Does anyone have any objections to the recommendations?
I don't have an objection to the recommendations, but I will say as a parent of a student at Irving and aunt of 2 other students at Irving, the trailers were proposed for the pre-K. I don't know why they decided to do it for the kindergarten. The classes switched. I have 2 kindergarten nieces and nephews that are going to be in these modular classrooms. The traffic pattern is not affected by this at all. It's the same traffic pattern that they had for pickup and drop off. The only thing that I think is really inconvenienced by the placement of these trailers is the lack of play space on the playground, because they take up a significant portion of the playground on the blacktop. And it looks as if the Irving playground was made smaller to accommodate this. They've had some changes to their playground equipment. So that would be my concern, is the lack of open spaces cited inside these classrooms, but also the lack of open space on the playground for the kids present.
So adding on open space for open play on the outside as well
On
as
the
on the
outside,
inside.
yeah.
I would agree with that too, and I would agree with that too. I noticed that, and which actually, I do have an objection to like putting more landscaping, which would actually shrink the play area. You can't do both.
Yeah.
And honestly, these are temporary, and so, you know, I don't want them to plant trees and shrubs and then just rip them out. That's just, I don't think those are really, this is not a site plan review, so I don't really think those are really relevant.
Does anyone have objections to removing the recommendation about installing shade trees for the temporary structures?
I would add to that also the grassy area, because the playground, like the surface is wood chips and blacktop. So there's not really an accommodation for a grassy area unless you're really like digging up blacktop to create grass.
So is there a consensus that that recommendation for a long-term project would be sound, but perhaps for these temporary trailers is perhaps not practical?
Correct.
All right, so let's remove that recommendation from our list. Chris will have to forgive us. And then we've added on the expansion of open play areas in the indoor and outdoor spaces. All right, any other comments?
Is there any indication how temporary these temporary shelters will be?
Anyone who's been to the school board meetings know?
I only know that I think that they're doing this because, again, don't quote me, but I think there is a state law that requires school districts to offer pre-K in a permanent
3-year-old and 4-year-old.
by no later than 2029. Is that right?
Yeah, and it has to be full day.
Yeah. So there's a big need in town for this service. So instead of waiting until 2029, they sound like had started the program sooner, which is good. But yeah, space is limited.
I just have if we're giving recommendations, they don't have to do any of these, do they?
This is correct.
Just wanted to.
As noted by the fact that they've installed the things
That
without
they're already
bothering to
there.
come here.
They don't
I
have to do
believe-
any of our recommendations.
Not to be overly critical, but I believe this is before us so that they can expedite their application with the DOA and less to get our very wonderful and helpful and insightful comments. So we're gonna give it to them anyway, because
Yes.
that's what we're here for.
So is there any generally accepted definition for temporary?
Less than infinity.
Well, there's no permanent foundation under them.
What, yeah, at some point it might become permanent. Will they be back in front of this board asking for permanency?
I think that was Matt's comment earlier, that if we do have a more permanent modification to the space, the planning board would be involved in any site plan changes, right?
And I believe since these are more connexes, these are movable structures, so they would be considered temporary for as long as they're there. So that's
Fair enough, thank you.
3 months to years.
All right, last call. All right, so would anyone like to make a motion to provide our comments to the board as we've now amended and presented them?
Motion to provide.
Motion by Alan Williams,
Second.
second by Khalidra. Take a roll call vote.
Mr. Brusher.
Yep.
Mr. Chin.
Yes.
Mr. Eisendorfer.
Yes.
Ms. Hadzi.
Yes.
Mr. Hale.
Yes.
Mr. Linares.
Yes.
Mr. Croman.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Ms. Hand.
Yes. I'll make a note for the record that I do not see any members of the public here with us tonight, but just for formality's sake, I will open up the meeting to members of the public if anyone wishes to be heard. And seeing none, I will close the meeting to members of the public. And we'll go, anyone have any last final agenda items they want to bring up?
And then one quick announcement, if that's what that,
Now's the time to do it.
I think the borough's already communicated this, but I think it's interesting as a transportation planner, kind of fun. You know, the New Jersey DOT is hosting, is currently running a virtual public information center on a potential road diet along Route 27 between 8th Avenue and Brookville Avenue. The information center, virtual public information center started October 2nd and runs through October 16th, 2023. There's a website, I can read the website for the minute's sake, but it's Route 27 highlandpark.com. And
ROUTE 27.
route as in you spell it out, ROUTE 27, sorry, highlandpark.com. And it's you know, on this website, there's a preliminary preferred alternative for the road diet on that street, and the public can watch a video and a PowerPoint, and there's a public comment section. So just it's good to get the public to know.
Yeah.
There's public comment out there.
Absolutely. And definitely any road diet changes are part of our master plan and things we've been talking about for years, if not decades, and it's lovely to see some movement on that. So I'm really glad to hear about that. And yeah, everyone should go to the website, participate, learn more about it, make your comments, even if it's make it all road, like knock down all the houses, just build it all. Probably won't go with that, but you know, if that's your vote, put it out there. You never know. Okay, anything else? Technically, I'm supposed to ask Scott if anything interesting is happening around town, but
No, we got King Land, he's finally wrapping it up. 7 houses. That's pretty much about it. It's been a little slow.
Who owns the lot next to that last house?
Just, I believe just there.
Yeah.
Scott, could you comment on the North Fifth Avenue just before it turns into Lincoln? There's a big hole in the ground now. I presume it's going to be a mansion.
Yeah, that's the one I mentioned that the last time. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice size house. Got a couple people in there.
Okay.
all right, then.
Couple houses.
With that, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I can make the motion.
Motion to adjourn by Jeff,
Second.
second by Stephen. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.